Hey Charles,
Hey, brother.
how are you, Charles?
Doing fine on this beautiful Labor Day.
Yes, right. It was a hot Labor Day. It was like a really hot Labor Day.
Yep,
Um, but a hell of a lot better than it being a rainy Labor Day.
yeah,
So I'm checking my. I know usually I get all these things prepped beforehand, but when I look at my iPad and the screen is dark and it won't go on, it's telling me that the battery's dead.
you have something to plug it into?
Yeah, I do. I just. Anyway, how was your day, bro? How was your day?
Well, it was pretty nice. Went by so sad. I went by we had a large fire in Waimea a couple nights back.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw that, man.
yeah,
Jeez,
it
so bad.
completely burned the house down to the ground. So went by, take a look at the damages. I mean, without any permission to go in, you would be hard pressed to find out the ignition point where it started. So, but all I know it's rubble, and hope I don't think anyone got hurt, but I still pray that you know these people can be taken care of because they got displaced. Yeah, they
Yeah.
so
Well, I'm hoping. I'm hoping. I mean, everything. I hear that they lost everything.
yeah, yeah.
And it's so sad. At this time when everybody's struggling, everybody's having a rough time. It's
Yeah.
just.
Hey, somebody said something about Lee Cataluna's. You saw that the civil beat she wrote.
I didn't see it. I heard that she was a scathing report. That's her first article with Civil Beat. She's new.
Yeah,
She's a new. The Star Advertiser let her go. So Civil Beat very smart to pick her up. And I didn't read it, but
what did
but I saw somebody's post about it, and basically they said that it was about just a failure of the state, the lack of leadership.
right?
But I didn't get to read it. I didn't get to read it.
Well, well, folks. Like I said earlier, I want to bring on Dr. Emily Roberson if it's possible. I mean, I found an email address, hopefully that she gets it. But again, she has to take directions from someone above her. And if they basically tell her, no, you cannot go on the Mel and Charlie Facebook Live, then that's it. But it was worth a try. Really, I didn't want to talk about the politics behind it because, we all know what that involved. I really want to talk to her about the contact tracing and how deep of a program does she feel contact tracing needs to go, the direction. Because I don't think anyone fully understands the depth. And from what I've been hearing, uh, you know, s- the way they talked about it, I mean, that doesn't even scratch the surface if that's what they're applying. Because we talked about the numerical value of 3, right, per person coming in contact. That's a hypothetical float because that number can be 15, and then each 15 could be another 15. But we never looked at numbers that high. And since we're on the subject, it brings me to believe, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but all of a sudden, search testing does not address the infectious rates in those areas that was hardest hit by this pandemic. It's just like you said, it's a surveillance, right? People show up, you want to see if you got COVID or not. Okay, I get that portion. But then all of a sudden, this today's numbers just drastically dropped, and I was kind of curious. I said, is it something that I mean, I don't know what to think because it could have dropped at any time these last couple weeks, and it didn't, and it just miraculously dropped. The number dropped. I mean, really dropped. And you saw the numbers today, right? How low it was. So,
You, you talking about the infection rate?
yeah. Hmm.
No, I mean I didn't see it because they're combining it, and that just tosses that number out the window for me. Again, it's just crap. It's cooking the books. It's trying to convince people that it's not as bad as it is, and it's a dangerous direction for the state to take. The
Well,
lieutenant governor,
I,
before they did the mass testing, Josh Green said he was going to keep it separate because it's two different types of testing. It's just two different purposes of testing, and yeah, if you want, you can do whatever you want with the numbers, and the objective here is to get rid of the virus, not to publish a low infectious rate. It's very simple to do that. Just give more tests to people that are not positive. It's it's
right.
it's, it's just crap, and just the people want to know what is really happening out there. Just tell us. We're adults. Just tell us what the hell is going on. And this whole surveillance testing thing, it's not good for to determine the infectious rate because you're doing surveillance testing. So it should be kept separate. Uh, it's just it's crap. They should have kept the two sides, two sets, like the lieutenant governor said. Keep the two different testing separate because you're looking for different things in the test that dictates the infectious rate. That's based on the amount of people that are positive that are infecting others. The surveillance testing is just a snapshot of your community. That's all. So anyway, yeah, the state's numbers I don't really pay much attention to because especially when we know the infectious rate, it just is not that good. It's very dangerous.
Well, I believe in, opening the state properly with all measures in place. But I think, when you drive these numbers down, because we know for a fact that the officials of the state is dependent upon numbers, right? Because the
Mm.
numbers is the one driving whether we open or not. And if they get within a good probability range, I want to say, they're going to open up. But again, I've always been one that, if you're going to solve one crime, it's going to lead you right back who the suspect is. And to this day, we never got a clear answer. Did any of the contact tracing actually come back, or was any of the patterns established on how the spread took place? That's the thing I want to know. Because if I know that the spread is now moving towards the Big Island, then hey, throw the resources at the Big Island to stop him at its borders. Only common sense. But we don't
Mhm.
even know that. If the spread coming to Kauai, then hey, bring some reinforcements over here. Let's stop it. But because it's not done properly, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to get Dr. Robertson on to kind of get a detail because she's heading the contact tracing program, and I've seen some of her write-ups on other programs that she participated in to develop the contact tracing. Um, it sounds totally different from what you or I are accustomed to as investigators. So, I mean, does it take you to maybe like the first or second level contact, and then it ends there? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sure sounds that way, but I hope it's not that way because it's really got to go in depth, and we really got to find where this thing is headed. So,
Uh, I think we know they're contacting level one, and you would hope that they're contacting level two. Just in my own personal experience, and again, with Dr. Roberson on, maybe it'll be different. I don't know. But back to the surge testing, I think when you have, and I know of at least three people that personally said, not heard, but actually was involved, where three people that didn't take the surge test but got results from the surge test. That enough for me to toss that crap out the window. Uh, how does that happen? It's just because it's just a terrible setup. The system is messed up. I mean, that's horrible. It's horrible. You didn't take the test and you get a result.
mhm.
Uh, Something is not right. So automatically, me as an investigator, The credibility of that entire program for me is suspect, and unless proven otherwise, I would never use that in a case to send somebody to court or to jail. Never, never. Not with, I can see one, maybe a typo, or they dropped a vial and had mixed up with. No, this the people never even take the test. They didn't even take them. They left. No more vial with their name, but they got the notice that they had gotten the test.
Yes.
So
You know,
until they fix that, that to me is it's just another way. Honestly, this is what I think. It's just another way to help Hawaii spend the CARES money before the end of the year. Waste them. I shouldn't say spend. Waste them. That's the way I look at it.
yes.
Shameful. Shameful.
Well, like anything else, sometimes I get so discouraged. Not at anybody, but I get discouraged at myself because after we do one show, the first thing I ask the wife, I go, honey, was the questions I asking a little bit too much above everybody's heads? That's how I feel sometimes. Because, even as a traffic investigator, I know a car collided at this certain given point, but I want to know how did the car end up on the side that's opposite what I would normally think momentum would lead that car into. Why did it move to the other side? And I'll go dig for those answers. Because why? If it goes to court and if there's a big, money's involved, if you're the investigator, they're going to ask you the question. You better know your stuff. You better talk about linear momentum. You better talk about everything and anything that can happen to the conservation of linear momentum. When the X and Y axis meet, when that thing crashes, you better know, based on all your training and based on physics, why the car ended up in a certain position. You better know that. And that's what I think with this. I ask questions just so I want to know how the hell one would think it should be getting to point A, but it's actually ending up somewhere between point B and C. And I get so disappointed because I feel like maybe that question was too dumb to ask. I don't like ask them again. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, especially when every time you ask a question, you get a different answer, or or some different excuse. So, I know somebody asked about the surge test funding was from the FEMA. From what I was told, it was Hawaii's share of CARES money. And again, I don't know that. That's just what I was told. That in fact it did come out of Hawaii's money. So, but we can actually get that answer uh, for you. I hope. I don't know. Bottom line is this: it's not working. It didn't work. There are too many mistakes, and they should probably stop that and focus their energies, like you said, Charlie. Send the resources to the Veterans Center, the Veterans Home on the Big Island, where we lost another veteran tonight. 8. I think it's up to 8 now. Go send your resources there.
Hmm.
The chatter is worthless. The chatter about all what we're doing and please guys, we're gonna break that record of 5,000 a day. This ain't a damn contest, man. You respond to the fires. You put out the fires where you need to, and I don't know. I don't know what these guys and understand. The Surgeon General was here. Surgeon General was here. I believe in all my heart is because we're messed up. And so anyway, I don't know what to say. But tonight we get Angela Keene. Boy, we went through the 15 minutes without even talking about our cult. Oh, and we lost Charlie. Oh, and we got Charlie back.
I'll be right back. I got someone knocking at my door. I'm sorry. I should have put quiet on the set, so nobody come knocking on my door. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're not joking. You're serious.
No,
Okay.
I'm joking.
Uh-oh. Look, uh-oh. Anyway, yeah, we invited Angela to come on tonight to talk about the quarantine breakers throughout the state, making a lot of headway. And really wanted to talk about the cult, that crazy cult that was here on Kauai. Um, a lot of. I wore my Kauai Strong shirt tonight. Um, oh, Angela just texted me. Should see you in less than 5 minutes. But I'm wearing my Kauai Strong shirt today because the community responded The
Yes.
North Shore community, the all over the island community responded to those knuckleheads, and basically for 3 days, man, just put constant pressure, protesting signs, and these people were firing back. With, I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to watch the videos, but very vulgar language, very pilau. These people are pilau. They're nuts. They're crazy, and um, and they're gone. They're gone. And the mayor, Derek Kawakami, and his team, Mike Daly, along with the Visitors Bureau, Sue Kanoho, and Vass, they all participated in this along with the community, and was able to negotiate an exit strategy for these people, actually funding their return trips to get them off Kauai. Now, people may complain about that. People may say, "Why are we pay?" Well, first of all, Vash is a nonprofit, private nonprofit, so I don't care. Honestly, if they would have asked me, Mel, would you have a problem with using tax funds to get them off the island? If I was sitting on a council, I would support it. Get them off here, because the cost of uh, the collateral cost for the county with these types of people being here, creating problems in the communities. Um, their plan wasn't to be nice neighbors. Trust me, if you watched all the videos, you can see these guys are nuts. They're crazy people, and thinking this knucklehead lady, the boss, their god is a person that thinks she's Pele. Now, wow, wow! You come to Hawaii. Apparently, you never study enough, because if you did, you would never talk about Pele or pretend to be Pele, because you're gonna burn in hell. That's what's gonna happen.
I saw something. I think we all got it wrong. She wasn't referring to the goddess. She was referring to the soccer player Pele. That's who she was referring.
Yeah, maybe that's the one. Maybe that's the one. But you know, when that thing started brewing, I remember I got the call over the weekend, and I started watching the videos, and I got freaked out, and we started to pass on the information to those. Cindy from our office went and started to track down the members, doing the background checks, and these people are crazy people, and their plan was really to establish their new compound over here, Kawaii. They actually had a name for it, or Lemira. I think it was Lemira, Lemira, if I'm not mistaken, and that was going to be their. This was going to be their hub. I was like, oh my lord, can you imagine that? I mean, I don't think it would have ever gotten that far because of the community response.
No, I don't
But
think I don't think they would have gotten that far because number one, they don't even have money for buy their own plane ticket.
yeah, they they had some suitcases. Patsy saying they never have suitcases. They had
No,
they
they,
had,
they,
they
they
had
had suitcases. That's a 2020 model from Glad.
yeah.
That's the suitcases from Glad.
There were some suitcases, and there were some garbage bags. Lemuria. Thank you. Hidden Island. That's the one. Thanks, Angie. Lemuria. I mean, this stuff it comes out of a movie, you know. But if you go look further into these people, and you look at the connections to the cults in Colorado, in Crestone. I mean, I go check it out. Crestone. You probably already read it, but go deeper and look about the town. Read about the town, and you see um, some strange things go on in Crestone, and we just definitely did not need those people here. So I give the mayor a lot of credit. He could have sat back and let law enforcement deal with it, um, but he
You know,
actually went out and he took his family. He texted me. What day was that? Yesterday, Patsy? Was it yesterday? Or he said, "Oh,
no,
he texted me to wish me a happy birthday." Oh, that was Saturday.
brother,
So
I am happy because just imagine, you think toilet paper shortage was bad. If they were here, we'd be out of Glad trash bags right now, and that I would die. I cannot
yeah,
have.
because you cannot use toilet paper as a trash bag, but you can use a trash bag as a toilet paper. See the
I don't.
difference?
No, I know one is more slippery than the other. Yeah.
Yeah. But the mayor texted me on my birthday. He wished me a happy birthday, and he said that he was en route to the North Shore to go talk to the community and the cult people, and that he had his wife and his daughter in tow. That's exactly what he said. And I asked him, man, hey, let me know if I can help. I would love to have gone out with him, but he went out there and talked to both sides and encouraged them to get the heck out of here, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Somebody's posting one of the posts that they had. They were calling for 144,000 of their followers to come to Kauai. Can you imagine? Charlie? Can you imagine if had 100 of them? Had 15 or 18 or whatever. Imagine if had 100. Now imagine if we had 1,000. Now imagine if we had 144,000 of these characters running around Kauai.
You know what is so cute about our people that watch this show? When they first landed, like Christopher Columbus, they first landed on island. Poor thing, I was getting messages, Uncle, is this for real? Help! I tell them, no worry, they're gonna self-destruct. And in a way, I kind of disappointed they left our island too fast because I think I was gonna have some fun, but
Well, where you find one bunch of idiots, a bunch of knucklehead idiots that is out there screaming and swearing and cussing, and then the local people outside lighting fires, bonfires to smoke them out. I mean, this is so classic strategy. I love it. Hey, smoke them out, irritate them. So they get so irritated, they start destroying their own property.
yeah.
I love it, man. I love it. That just proves their stupidity, and I just love it. But anyway, Angela is here. She can hear us. We cannot hear her. She cannot see us, but now she can.
Wait.
Okay, hang on, hang on. Okay, I'll turn you off. Sorry, she's putting on her makeup, people. Look, she laugh. We can see her laugh. We cannot hear her though. You ready, Angela? She's trying to make sure it's perfect. She was a newscaster before, so before you get everything got to be so perfect, lighting, makeup, all of that. And I think she might be. Oh no! I now I'm getting seasick. I'm looking at her camera angle. I'm getting seasick. Look, where is it now? Okay, just give me a thumbs up when you're ready to bring you in. Okay, boom.
I don't
There
know if
we
you
go.
can you hear me.
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you, but I can see you. But now we can hear and see you. How you doing?
Oh, okay. Hey, how's it going? Happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
You have a new system. It's not Zoom this time, right?
Yeah, we're trying Restream.
Okay.
We're trying Restream. We were talking about it last night, Charlie and I, that probably going back to Zoom. I kind of like this, but the quality of the video and the audio is much better.
Ah,
And but anyway, we'll see. We need to have two because when one screws up, we can jump on another one.
yeah.
So we
I
will
got
go
my
back to
computer
Zoom
up
and
here just in case.
use
Okay.
Restream as the backup. But anyway, how you been, girl? Are you busy?
Oh, running ragged.
Yeah, I know. It's we follow you on not only Facebook but also on the news. You make it on the news quite a bit now. It's pretty cool that they have a resource to go to find out what really is happening out there in the world, in the real world.
I appreciate it. I have some good relationships with the media. Of course, working at Hawaii News now, used to be KGMB and then later KHNL for so many years. And the same people are still there, and even the younger, newer reporters, they kind of hear stories about the past and things, oh, Angela Keene. So I have a good rapport with them and they're very supportive. Reporters aren't supposed to take sides. They don't, but they're very supportive in listening to me, to listening to our concerns, to allowing us to share. What was it, Friday or Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Yeah, it was Saturday. We had all those people in Waikiki. And, we don't normally go after the masks and the people on the beach and stuff like that. If we did that on Oahu, it would be 24/7 and then some. We just cannot handle that volume. So that's why we do Kapu Breakers, quarantine breakers. But there were people that were calling me. I had one woman, her significant other is a bus driver, and he has the Waikiki route, and was just saying, oh my God, it's nuts out there. You got to do something. And I'm like, but that's not what we really do. And I'm not sure what, so got down to the point where I had my own members walking through Waikiki or driving through Waikiki going, it's nuts. You got to get somebody down here. So one of our drone operators, Durley, she has a federal license. And so she's able to go to places with her drone that not everybody can go. She set herself up right by the HPD Waikiki substation and just let the drone go, and there were a lot of people. Even if they were social distancing, it's just the point of getting to and from the beach and getting past all the people and just being out there, which we're not supposed to do, right? Oahu's on lockdown.
You would think. It's not what I'm seeing on the news, though. Whenever I see the pictures, just no one's. I mean, I shouldn't say no one. There's a bunch of people that aren't following the lockdown, and that's what creates problems. I was really worried about this weekend coming up, this Labor Day 3-day weekend, because it's what you do on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but we'll probably see the effects in the next couple of weeks again, like we have with all the other.
The reports that I had today wasn't so bad. I think everybody's got their Monday hangover today. There weren't a lot of people out on Oahu today, from what I heard, unless I'm looking at the live stream and I see anything different. It could very well be, but yeah.
We had college football today. Had the Army-Navy game today. I'm sorry, Navy-BYU game today.
Oh, that's why.
First collegiate football game in a long time, so I think a lot of people made it home to watch the game. I don't know. I'm guessing, but yeah.
What we've been discussing over the last week or so was because of the H3 testing.
Oh, right.
And, just the out and out violation of not taking the federal's lead that you don't have permission to use it. Mel and I felt, just by the authoritative body, the optics would be, hey, you defied the federal government. They said you can't use the tunnel, but you went ahead and used it anyway. We felt that alone would tell people, you know what, it's okay to go break quarantine, because if they don't follow, why should you follow? And that's what I was always worried about from the start. If you lead by example, let's all march to the same tune. But now it's kind of mishmash. It's one's going more than the other, and it's rough. It's rough, making it tough.
I have to hand it to DOT. Is it Ed Sniffen? I think he that was a brilliant idea, though. But what I hear on the back end, as far as our leadership of our state and everything, leadership in Washington, D.C. is not happy with Hawaii, and I didn't expect that to get approved anyway. But it was a brilliant idea to have that space. I mean, there's no other stretch of roadway that's fairly empty enough at most times of the day to be able to have that many people roll through. So,
well, I think when we had Tulsi on, she said that that they supported the decision that was made, But again, what that caused Mel and I to do was to look at, okay, so we got this surge testing, we got 15,000 tests, and you only could produce, now, again, it's a test, but it only produced 90 positive individuals out of 15,000. And yet we're getting high numbers. And then now you get the stories about, well, some people didn't even take the test and they got emails saying that they were positive. So when you got that into the mix, how does one know what is really going on? Because there's a lot of confusion right now.
And I think that testing is also not the best testing. That's more of a rapid, not a rapid test, but it's the quicker, it's right. Not the test that they require for, if we open up on October 1st for quarantine, that's not the same test. It's a cheaper kind of test. So,
well, it's a self-administered test. So, I mean, Lord have mercy. I mean, just unless you are supervised on and making sure that you collect the right sample from that nostril. But again, it's I think the point was that the state is, and I agree. I mean, after hearing Tulsi's explanation, yeah, it was a brilliant idea, but why couldn't we get the approval? And I think the bigger concern was how do you now? Basically, what the state said was, we know that we were not supposed to do it, but we went ahead and did it anyway because we believe that our reason justified it, even though we didn't get permission, because we felt it was a good thing. We went ahead and violated the prohibition. And I think, how, how does the people feel that are out there that believe they have a valid reason to be on the road, or a valid reason to be without a mask, or a valid reason to do something that's not supposed to be done? And I think that was the message that Charlie and I were, and it's just the cops in us. I think it's just the cops in us that are not flexible. I mean, what would have been the harm to prolong the test another week until we could
Yeah.
till we could get the permission? Because on the tail end, we may suffer from some mean ramifications financially from federal funds. And like you said, a lot of the congressional people up at Washington D.C., not our delegation,
Right.
but are not happy.
Right.
And we see how they operate. They're not the most um, friendly people to deal with when they're pissed off. So anyway, quarantine breakers. You guys been
Oh
catching
my
them, and stucking them in
gosh.
and where you guys hide them all when you guys catch them? When your team goes out and catches them, you guys have like a secret. Are you using the H3 tunnel when they're not testing? Is that why you?
I live in Mo'iliili. We get tunnels over here. Old kind people, they generations ago they used to talk about the tunnels under Mo'iliili, but it's funny. I never have to leave my couch to do any of this. It just I don't have to.
Yeah.
I work really hard, not to say I work really hard, but I don't have to leave my couch to go do any of that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So
Well,
it
I know you have a lot of people in the group, and I know that you have a lot of people in government that you report, or not report, but report to, not in the sense as bosses, but you report your findings to. Same
yeah,
like here. We are so lucky here in Kauai because thanks to Hawaii, I mean, the Kapu Busters, Kapu Breakers, your Facebook page and the emails. We often get messages about quarantine breakers here on Kauai, including the cult that we just, thank God they got them off the island. But we're lucky here because we notify the EOC, our people, and they go out and they respond. KPD with the National Guard, they're very good here. Now we don't have the volume of quarantining people like you folks on Oahu, but having that support from the government is so critical in making sure that these guys get caught or they stay in their quarantine area. So I know that you have built. Yeah, share this, please, everybody. Share this, so all the quarantine people can watch. All
yeah.
those.
We have our support is really, and I can give you a great example. Our support is the Senate COVID committee. They are. Hold on just a second. Hey, can you shut the door, please? Yeah, shut the door though. It's too loud out there. You're on live TV.
Sorry.
I got him. Anyway.
Something's up. Charlie had to leave
Sorry.
today to go shut
No.
his door too, and now you shutting your door. Hang on, Patrick, shut the door, please. Okay, now we're all good.
Wait, Trey, hold on. Ige's knocking at my door again. Hold on. I gotta look.
Yeah, no, our biggest support is the Senate Committee on COVID-19. And I just sent them an update letter last week. And I told them that Lieutenant Governor Green called us. He called us badasses. I called them badasses. They're the real badasses, really. They're the ones that listen to all the stories, that get all the emails from the angry people, that get me knocking on Chairman Dela Cruz's door, always asking for assistance, and they always listen and they always take action. Every single one of the things that we proposed for quarantine, whether it's the one-room key or any of that stuff, they have gone to bat for us. They really have, and they don't get enough credit for it. They're the ones that opened the doors at the Department of Health with a camera and really got to the bottom of what's going on. They connected me to the state auditor, Les. I know you had him on the show recently. And that whole connection has been a game changer for Kapu Breakers. It really has. On Saturday, my phone was ringing off the hook. People were complaining about all of that crazy stuff going on in Waikiki. We got the drone out there. But as I was getting the drone, I texted Senator Dela Cruz, and then I called him, and, I'm pretty sure I woke him up, from an afternoon nap or whatever he was doing. And he sprung into action. As soon as I got off the phone with him and our drone operator got down there, people started seeing things change. And it happened quite quickly. And then, yesterday and today, I was told that HPD was out there in force. And I never want to ever talk bad about HPD. I don't. Those officers are amazing. They are beyond amazing what they deal with every day, but they're not used to this. And the quarantine breakers are a completely different ballgame that they're not used to. Not only is it just the case itself, but the evidence gathering and all the time that it takes. They don't have time for that. And I wish that the powers that be within the state would stop pushing them, because it's really not their kuleana. Because if they're caught with a quarantine breaker case, they're going to be on it for a day or two. It's not like you can hand out a ticket and go. If you hand out a ticket and go, you can reach more people that way. But if you're a beat officer and you find a quarantine breaker, traveler or local, breaking the 14-day quarantine, you're going to spend hours on that case trying to build it up to prove it so that the prosecuting attorney can win, right? Mm-hmm. It just doesn't make any sense. So my plea to the Senate committee is, I'll be a contractor. Give me some of those funds. I'll put a team together. We'll have a quarantine breaker team, and we'll work with the AG's office like we always have, but it'll just be more organized.
I second that. I support that. I actually thought it was going to happen, but I'm not sure. But that would make so much sense, because same over here. What's happening over here, the KPD is using up a lot of overtime, spending a lot of CARES money overtime to make sure we do what we can to stop the quarantine breakers. That's I believe a wise decision made by the chief and the mayor to allow that to happen. So everything is kind of in place now for them as it started to ramp up. Now Honolulu, you just don't have the bodies to do that. Money isn't going to help HPD if they don't have bodies to go do the work, even on overtime. So,
then you've got the AG's special investigators who handle these cases. We saw a story last week. They put a media packet together with video, and you saw the officers. They're actually special investigators at the Waikiki Banyan, and that's a notorious place with, I don't know, they have 60 or 70 illegal Airbnbs. Illegal right now. They're legal normally, but right now they're illegal. And why we even have them, why we even allow it, shouldn't be. They should all be in a hotel, and they should be monitored. And I know that people keep telling me this, and I've heard this a lot this week. Well, but it's not the visitors bringing it in. No, it's locals too. But there is a point when the news media says to me, Angela, we've done so many quarantine breaker stories this week, we're not going to air this one. So unless it's somebody famous like your Tiny Tadanis, those kind of people, the news media is not going to report on somebody down the street that came back from Vegas and broke quarantine. It's not newsworthy. So people don't get to hear all of the cases that we do get that don't get on the news, that might be local, that just might be the guy down the street that breaks quarantine, but we do get them. We do.
You know what has been very, very difficult, and I think going by 5 months now, more than 5 months. I think what definitely needs to happen, and there's evidence to show, we've got to basically take an area and deem it a quarantine zone, plain and simple,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
put everybody there. Then we don't have to worry about playing this cat and mouse game, because that's what it is. Because you got pockets of it all over the place, and it's just when when a demographic say it'll stretch. I mean, conceivably, it's all the way from Makaha all the way to Waimanalo. I mean, that's so wide an area. Then
Yeah.
then you leap over to the North Shore, and that I mean, heaven forbid, but we talk about the Big Island. You're talking about how big that place is, from the Kohala coast all the way to the opposite, the Hilo side of the island. It's just so much to cover, and I think they should just designate one zone. It's only for 14 days. If they wanna come here, I mean, it's still yet it behooves one to think, gee, why are they picking Hawaii, knowing that there's a quarantine? But if you wanna roll that dice, then just know that you're gonna spend time in a zone that's the only place you can go. You can't go anyplace else. And I think that would make it much easier, much easier. You have medical personnel standing by. You can monitor greater. You can basically know when you're gonna jump from a quarantine to an isolation situation. Right now, nobody tells these guys, hey, what if you get symptoms while you're in quarantine? Heck, you might be getting sick, but nobody tells them, well, you're gonna jump right away and now change the direction you're going, because you're going from a quarantine to an isolation situation now. And you just got all of this stuff that's being thrown into the mix. Then you expect the police to go and chase these people. I said, it's crazy.
Well,
It's,
we do have a cruise ship at Aloha Tower that's sitting there empty.
yeah, yep.
That'd be ideal. That would be
Put them out
so
in the ocean. Sorry.
exactly. I talked to Sue Kanoho and our director for Kauai Visitors Bureau, and it's interesting how many the average length of stay now for people on Kauai, much more than 14 days. They're staying a month. So they
Wow.
are. I think the intention may be to come and quarantine for 14 days. Honey, it'll be nice. We'll just stay in the room for 2 weeks. We can relax and watch movies and blah blah blah. And then about the third day, when you and your spouse have not been able to leave the room,
And the shopping channel is already bought
yeah,
everything. Yeah.
all the commercials and all the stuff in the room telling you all the wonderful things to do. It's hard to stay in a room,
Yeah.
and because really, what Charlie said, who in their right mind would go on a vacation to somewhere that is in the middle of a pandemic, that the numbers are at its worst, and you got to be locked up for 14 days? They're not coming to quarantine for 14 days.
No.
They're not. We
Crazy.
know that,
Yeah.
and that's why I think, rather than try to figure out a way to outsmart them, just from the airport, guess what? You jump in this unmarked shuttle right to the quarantine place. Maybe it's the ship, maybe it's a bunch of tents. I don't know, big. I don't care. But that way, everybody gets quarantined. You basically lock out the virus from coming inside. Done.
And I should have told you I wanted to talk about this briefly, but I try to tell people here that shame doesn't work. Okay, in Hawaii, for local people, shame works, right? You find somebody do something wrong, you blast them to all your friends. Oh my gosh, shame works. They won't ever do it again. But mainland people, they don't grow up like that. They don't grow up with shame. In fact, they flaunt it. And so if you see somebody that's doing something wrong in Hawaii and they're not from here, and you go to their Facebook page or you go to their Instagram page and you blast them, they just delete it. They don't care. So that's why I keep telling people, The best way to catch these people is to do it on the down low. You keep it secret, you gather the information, you tell us offline, and we go get them. And then we blast them after we catch them. We blast them with a $2,000 fine. We blast them with a news story, and then people can go after them. But shame doesn't work for other people. Hawaii, it works. Anybody outside of Hawaii, it doesn't work.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't see the local people often on Facebook ripping apart. You know, if they get busted for quarantine, they're gonna hide under the rock. But
Yeah.
no, these other ones, they, like you said, they flaunt it. They're proud of it, and they make fun of it. They make Instagram or Facebook movies on it. You know, I think they got to bring back the tar and feather, put it in the center of the marketplace, and just let everybody watch. I mean,
So,
you know, I don't know what to do with these people.
And you know, the exemptions changed a little bit this week. So requests for exemptions used to go through the AG's office for the entire state. And it was a problem for HPD because HPD didn't have access to that, and they couldn't even look up a quarantine breaker. Speaking of Honolulu Police Department, by the way. And this week, they made the switch. And this involves that new, what they call travel app, whatever, Safe Travels, whatever. Basically, all it is it's a Google page that they created that allows a digital form to be signed. It's no app. There's nothing special about it. It's just digital now. But what it does do is it allows the counties to take control of the exemptions, okay? And I'm hearing from my team that Maui is really cracking down. So they have county employees who take those requests, and then they go through and they approve or disapprove them. For Oahu, I don't think anything has changed because I've had too many issues with exemptions this week, except for people don't get briefed at the airport what an exemption is and what it means to them. Meaning you can only go from work to home, home to work, work to home. That's it. And on Saturday, when I tried to check on a quarantine breaker, the AG's office did not have that database. So I again had to reach out to Senator Dela Cruz, to assist us in getting their access back so that we could continue to work with them on all these cases. So it's going to be interesting to see how things continue this next week with exemptions, because now the counties have control of that list for their own county.
Wow, that's a lot. You know, that's a handful. But you know, I wanted to ask you, Angela, and you know, a lot of people they've been asking the same thing too. It's regards this last group that was sent away. Wow. Put on a plane and everything. Yeah, that kind of you know. First of all, what's your take on it? We've heard this, that the principal individual mom, as the so-called mom,
yes,
doesn't have any ID. You know, why was she even allowed? I mean, isn't that I mean, TSA makes it a requirement for us. I mean, and even if we had to go through secondary screening, I would think that you know, there's got to be a reason why you don't have an ID. So that, you know, I wanted to ask you about it.
I know that for certain people, there is an emergency thing where you can say if you lost your driver's license and you have certain kinds of identification, you can submit that, like bills and birth certificates and different kinds of things, and they can make an emergency provision for that.
Right.
How she got through with that, I have no clue. Like how she even got on the airplane to get into Hawaii, you know. But you know what they do? What they do is, and the Big Island cult did that too, a handful, like a small number come, and they're the ones that set up and get everything ready and pave the way and find all the secrets and find the housing and do quarantine and all that kind of stuff. But this cult was just really dangerous. I did a lot of research on them. They're out of Colorado. She's originally from Kansas. She's an alcoholic and a meth addict. And I mean, we're so lucky that they're gone. And
What do you think what do you think they were after? I mean, them coming here is one thing, but going through the process that they did. First of all, I would, if it was me, and I'm pretty sure you agree, I would have just laid low when I first came here, not doing
Yeah,
all the advertising. I mean, it was
right.
nuts, and
The,
it just
the Big Island cult did the same thing. They're not in the right mind. I mean, she's drunk 24/7. So, and she speaks out of the side of her head. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I think she's not well. I know she's not well. She's in a wheelchair. She's younger than me. She looks older than me. I'm going to be 52. She's 40 something, 44, I think.
mhm.
Oh,
I
wow.
think that they were planning to just ride into the sunset in her final days. And they've had some issues with members dying because if they don't do the right thing, they get set out into the wilderness and having to survive and get beaten up and all kinds of stuff, the stories that I've heard. And so really, I believe that there are several cases that they're looking at in Colorado that they're trying to get them on. And so they're kind of on the run right now. I say kind of, I don't think they're not sneaky about it. It's just they're evading authority because they don't want to deal with police to have to answer to these people who have gone missing. There's animals that have been mistreated. She's mistreated her cat, just all kinds of gross stuff. But really what I think that this whole effort, had it not been for that, that Big Island cult case paved the way for a lot in our state as far as communication is concerned, and Kapu Breakers and you guys we now have a fabric of volunteers on every island. And when things went down this last week and this weekend, all of us connected. Kauai connected with Oahu, Oahu connected with Maui and the Big Island. And we had people from Kapu Breakers from all walks of life, from people who had information in the flight towers to people in the airlines to, every aspect that you could imagine. And they were on every island getting us information. And it was so awesome to see that. It was so awesome. And had that not been a fact, it would have been a lot harder to connect everybody and make that happen. I mean, really.
Hmm. Well, we got someone here asking, I guess a report that you said last night there are two more cult members here on quarantine. Are there?
I believe so. We were able to confirm late last night, early this morning, that everybody's out. We thought that there were two more still quarantining, but as far as we know, everybody's out. They all got out last night. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are no longer here. Good.
It was I got to commend all of the people who gathered together. We have a gal on the Big Island, Teresa, and she took note of it. It's something that she's interested in, children and cults and just misbehaving and all this other stuff. And she got family members on Kauai interested, and then from there it just opened up all this great teamwork of people that went after them. And had it not been for that, and Kato and his boys too got involved just like they did on the Big Island. So team effort.
I did Caro do a video like he did for the Big Island one? I didn't. I was trying to find one. It didn't seem like he made one.
He didn't. I think a lot of other things happened quickly. He had a trip that he has to go on this week, so I think things kind of went quickly, and they did what they could, and whatever he did, it worked. So
Yeah, it was amazing. We talked about it before you came on tonight. The community. I wore my Kawaii Strong shirt. I mean, the community just responded quicker than anybody could, and they stayed vigilant. They were out for 3 days, man, nonstop, and they did everything they needed to do in a peaceful way. And then again, thanks to our, the mayor and his team that went down and negotiated and got them to go. And of course, Kauai Visitors Bureau and VASC put up the funds, and a lot of people asking about the funds. The VASC, they have private funds donated to them. So again, and I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it, Angela. I said, if I was on a council and I had been asked that question, should we use taxpayer funds to get them back to the mainland? I would say, yeah,
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 it comes from the hotel room tax. So basically, tourists are paying for tourists to go back.
yeah.
I mean,
And even if it had to come from local, for me, it was the airfares today is 200 or 300 bucks a piece.
Mhm.
You just pay that, get them back to wherever the hell they came from, and get them off the island because the cost, uh, just in so many ways, is not worth it. Not to have
yeah.
them here. I believe this is pure speculation, but I believe that these guys were going to eventually make it up to Kalalau.
Oh,
I don't.
probably. Yeah.
I think that's what they were. This was the advanced team. They were going to come up and enjoy and relax a little bit, and then make their way up to Kalalau and go live in Kalalau. That's what I believe. And I have definitely absolutely no evidence to support that, but uh, you know, Colorado, where these guys were, Crystal, where they were at, they're kind of isolated out of, they're
Yeah.
not in Denver, or these guys cannot survive in areas like that. So they need to be excluded. But it's like, people got to understand how cults work, where they send out these clowns to go out and recruit new people. And of course, the alcohol and drug use doesn't stop just because they're in Colorado. So I think the plan was to be a lot more. And then when she saw that they had been made early from Kawaii Inn, she realized that this was a place that they could not stay. That's where the frustration brewed, and then after that, she snapped.
She's not.
God never carried an ID. Just for your information, I know a lot of questions about the airport. God doesn't carry an ID, so just for you.
She snaps every day. What are you talking about?
She's off the walker. You know that lady is dangerous, and but yeah. So I'm glad they're gone. I'm glad they're gone. Angela, do you know how many people are on quarantine on Oahu? Is that number made
Oh,
available?
goodness. I don't know. Because we're getting about, gosh, we've got from March until today, daily, it's anywhere from 700 to 2,000 a day that come in.
Mhm.
And that's both locals and visitors. I count locals and visitors the same because they both have to quarantine. Doesn't make any difference. There's no difference.
Well, they don't have to. From coming from the mainland.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on Kauai, I know people dropping that 1,700 number, and that's true. Kauai has pretty much at any given time we have about 1,700 people in quarantine, which seems a lot, but you think about it, that's every inter island passenger that's flying in. They got a quarantine. Every visitor got a quarantine. Even those that are on modified quarantine, they're still considered on quarantine. So it's a lot of people on this small island to track every day, and I think people got
Well,
to understand that it's not an easy task.
Mhm.
it has to be somewhere 10 times that amount on Oahu. I mean, we're just so massive compared to you guys.
Yeah,
So,
I would guess you guys are probably 20,000, maybe.
yeah, I was going to say 5 to 10,000, but you're probably closer. You're
Oh
probably
yeah,
right.
you don't have the inner island um, quarantine, so you get some relief there, but it's a lot. It's a lot of people. I don't know what the length of stay is for visitors on Oahu, but if they're not staying for longer than 14 days, then your number is going to be outrageous.
Well, what I would like to see is I would like the numbers to show how many people do they pull out of line that come in with the scanner, with the temperature scanners that have to be scanned for fever. How
Hmm.
many get tested? We never hear about people coming in from the airport that get tested, ever, ever. And even if it's local people, I don't care. Whoever comes in from the airport has a fever, gets tested. I want to know. I want to know that number.
Let me ask you: do you think the money spent for all those scanners? I mean, in the millions, right? For all those temperature scans for all the airports. Do you think it was well spent? Because we notice now that temperature scans is just, it's not a reliable, pickup.
No, because you can be asymptomatic and you can take a Tylenol before you get on the plane and you won't have a fever when you arrive.
Yep. Yep.
But
Again,
I do think though that the scanners are good. They did it with SARS back many years ago, and it was very helpful internationally to catch patients who might have a fever and be symptomatic. It's just another thing to help, I think. Would I have spent that kind of money? I don't know, but if it's with CARES Act funds, then I guess it's okay. Better than nothing.
Well, I think, in the other viruses, though, I think SARS, you pretty much was safe unless you had the symptoms. You didn't have this 40% asymptomatic spreader type of virus like we do. We just had Russell on our show. He almost died. He got it from on his way back from Vegas. He caught it. He never had fever. He would have went right past that scanners. I don't know of anyone that I know that had the virus or tested positive had a fever.
Well, I had 101.7 was the highest that I got up to, so almost 102. But I always had a low grade fever. It was my oxygen that was bad. I mean, my oxygen would just drop, and I just couldn't breathe. And speaking of which, yeah,
COVID.
Way everybody thinks so. Yeah, and I was telling Charlie that, talking about his brother, I just only now have come to realize, I'm going back and looking at all the video documentation that I did when I was sick, because there were some days I didn't know I was going to wake up. And I would send messages to my mom or my sister in Germany or whatnot. And I forced myself this week, after seeing some of these stories come out, to look at the video, and I'm just like, wow, maybe I did have it. I mean, and I sent it to a friend of mine who works with respiratory at the hospital, and she says, Angela, you got the COVID eyes, you got the COVID face, you got the COVID voice. I was like, oh, gee, thank you, because I sent her the video. What do you think? Do you think I had it? She's like, oh, absolutely. So it's really a reality for me, and probably the reason why I push so hard on this whole situation, right? I don't want it to happen to anybody else.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. I have a question just came in on my text. It says, please ask Angela this. When a visitor arrives here, they fill out a Kawaii specific form, as they do on Oahu, your own form. It asks for their arrival flight info and departure flight info. What happens if someone says they are only going to stay for 4 days, but they intend to spend 11 days? If that departure date is used, it would seem that they drop off the radar after 4 days. Is that a loophole that needs to be fixed?
Wow, I've not heard of that. So they do require a return flight. If you don't have a return flight, then they will send you back, or they will tell you have to schedule, and they'll wait for you to schedule that flight. That is a good question. If you don't show up to the airport when you have that return flight and you have to reschedule, you need to let the hotline know, or whomever the number is on the sheet, because I think there's a number that you can call. Mm-hmm. You have to let them know that you changed your flight. I mean, there has to be a way to contact, but are there any follow-ups? I don't know. That's a good one. That's very good.
I think a lot of people are somehow getting around, and I think the quarantine, the exemptions are another problem that we're seeing a lot of people abuse, and it's just a mess, and that won't change. And can you imagine if we're up to 5,000 people arriving a day, or 4,000 people arriving a day from the mainland? I mean, if we're having a hard time track these guys now, it's going to be almost impossible. And I know people are saying the virus community spread now, but yeah, that's because we can somewhat manage the inflow of virus from the mainland. But when it gets beyond our scope, then it's another big problem.
With the exemptions, that's interesting because we had a guy in our group that just returned from a trip, and he posted in the group, I'm at the airport right now, and there's two girls in front of me talking about skipping quarantine. And he was just so upset about it, understandably so. They scooted in line next to a local guy, and they started giggling, and they said, well, so if we go to the beach and we don't answer the phone, what do we say? Should we just tell them that she was in the shower? Yeah, stuff like that. It's just impossible unless they're tracking you and you've got an app like they do in Hong Kong or elsewhere. And I know people get hoo-hoo over the civil rights issue, but there has to be some way to track it. It's a disease that's killing people and spreading, and there has to be some kind of way to control it. I mean, it just doesn't work willy-nilly. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. And it's just going to in this vicious cycle, and we're never going to get out of it. And tourism's never going to return if they don't get it together. Even this. I have a building in Waikiki, and I've got a great security guard there that's really maka'ala, very vigilant. She says to me, I got this doctor coming in and out. So I checked. The doctor is a traveling doc, and he's abusing his exemption. You're not supposed to go to the grocery store. He's from the mainland. He's here to help at Queens. You're not supposed to be all over the place. Leave for an hour here, leave for an hour there, in khaki shorts and a tank top. You're supposed to go from your hotel to the hospital, and he's around COVID patients. He's a hospitalist. He's a house doctor. So guess who had to call Queens and tell my friends there in the marketing department, hey, you have a visiting physician, a locums doctor that needs to obey by the exemption rules. He can only go from his hotel to his work. And if he needs delivery, we'll help set it up for him. We'll find somebody for him. But the bugger was really arrogant to the security guard. And I was going to have to send AG's investigators down there to talk to him to say, but the hospital did it. They were very responsible and very concerned. Queens was very upset about it. But it's that. And then there's people who just say, I have an exemption. Go into ABC store, and ABC store, they say, this guy came in. He was traveling. He said he was exempt. I said, did you ask for his paper? His exemption paper? He should carry it with him. Oh no. So people can ask for that. They can ask for the proof of them being exempt. There's nothing wrong with that.
What seems to be part of the problem with the whole system in general. When the state first went into all of this, everything, I think they should have made it perfectly clear what the rules of engagement would be. If they have an exemption, what the exemption paper looks like. Right now, nobody really, if they ask for an exemption form, John Q. Public working at CVS, unless they've seen an exemption form before, they wouldn't know if that's an authentic exemption form or not.
Right.
That's where a lot of the problem stands. And if you got someone who wants to get around the system, they're going to get around the system.
Yeah.
But my contention have always been, why put us in a position? Why not get us someplace where we hunker down and everybody just say, hey, write out the 14 days and then you'll be fine after that. You don't have to play this cat and mouse game. So what happens is the people like police, hotel security, they're hearing all of these battle stories, right? Of these people saying certain things, doing certain things. So of course everybody gonna be at this heightened state of alert. But the thing is, do you actually know what you're looking for? That's the problem.
There's no playbook, right?
Exactly.
There's no playbook.
Exactly.
So if you guys are former officers, you're a beat officer, you have your little playbook, right? You have it with you. You can whip it out and you look at the whatever violation that they're doing, you look it up. What if it's not in that playbook? What if it's a brand new rules and orders from the mayor? What if it's a emergency proclamation? These officers don't know. There needs to be a playbook. Yeah. And when when people come in, and I was talking to this with Les as with the committee, the Senate committee, when passengers come in, are they given a little card that they can put on the refrigerator that says what I can and cannot do? Because people think that they can walk their dog if they have a pet, if they're here for the 14-day quarantine. People think that they can go down to ABC and get a pack of cigarettes or whatever's, you cannot leave your room, but still, okay, now what if I'm in a house or an Airbnb? Then what? Then can I go in the yard? Can I go past the driveway? I mean, it's just, there is no playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And if these people, when they come in, they cannot just be briefed, oh, you can do this, do that, because they're so tired, they're hungover from their long flight. They're not going to remember, oh, what was I supposed to do yesterday when they said to me at the airport? They have to have a little card that they carry with them that says, here's what you can and cannot do for exempt, for regular, right? That's it. Take it with you, put it on the fridge, you stay in the hotel room, you know what you got to do.
And the sad thing, and I'm going to turn it over to Mel, but the sad thing is, nobody really asks a person, do you know the definition of the word exempt? We hear it used a lot, but I know definitely some people don't even know what that means. So when you're over there trying to explain something, as cops, we have to tell the person, can you understand the English language? Yes. So you understand what I'm saying? Yes. We have to get every step confirmed that they understood what I just told them. Now you got these people all coming off of the plane. I bet you some of them, if you tell them, okay, do you know the difference between quarantine and isolation? They think, oh, well, isolation and quarantine is the same, right? No, it's not. So it's stuff like that. I think, if they want to get everything generalized, so everybody, again, they march to the same beat, because right now there are so many interpretations out there. It makes it hard. In fact, it makes a program even more difficult because there's so many interpretations. Now,
Yeah, it's this whole exemption thing. I mean, the exemptions, they're giving away. I know Kauai is a little stricter because now the counties regulate the exemption on the island. But I mean, we see hundreds of people coming in for doing construction work, and yet we have hundreds of construction workers unemployed right now on Kauai. And there's just this whole exemption thing. To expect 100 people on a modified quarantine to not stop at the store after a day of work to go pick up poke and some beer is ridiculous. That's just going to happen. These doctors that travel, they're coming from a damn hospital, and they're in a hospital working. Bless their hearts, because we need that. But they're not the best one that you want out in a community after working in a hospital all day and may have contracted the virus or anything else. So, a lot of things just should be changed, and until we do that, until we get that done, we're going to still see the same problems. And I got a message from someone that is responsible for making quarantine calls on Oahu, and this person just private messaged me and said, lots of people are coming here, do not have a return flight booked. And I responded and I said, and are they allowed to stay? And this person said, yep, I've talked to a lot of them when I do my Q calls. So it is.
That's not allowed, though. They're not allowed to have a one-way ticket unless they're moving here.
Right. So like it was happening on Kauai, where the people would come in and lie to the person checking them in. I know this firsthand because they were getting the green on Kauai. We have the green card program, but they were basically lying, or they were being checked properly at the screening point. So it was happening, and I think it's just something that this is happening currently.
mm-hmm.
And obviously these people are, one of the comments was that please do not mention my name. But the bottom line is Angela, I guess it is happening as they do their Q calls. So somehow they're telling the people, maybe as they come through the line. I'm not sure if they're letting them through without a return airline ticket. I know in Kauai, and I only know this because I know a person that works for Delta Airlines, and she works the night flight, and they turn them around on Kauai. They put them right back on the same plane. And it's not uncommon to send up 3, 4, or 5 people back to on that same plane that they just got off of.
Yeah, they've done that on Oahu too. I know Jessica Rich has done that with Bash, so I'm not sure. I
I
probably
will follow up with this person, Angela, and I will let
wow,
you. I can honestly
wow.
tell you that this person would not it would not be lying. So but we'll
No,
give Michael.
understandable.
It was happening on Kauai as these guys were coming through. They weren't properly checking documents and tickets. The airline boarding passes, and they would just wave them on, wave them on. I mean, after a while of checking everybody's credentials, you get tired too, and it's just human. I'm not digging on anybody. I'm just saying we gotta make sure this isn't happening. They don't have a return ticket, they go right back on a plane. And I would say that's probably happening more times than it's not. But we gotta close up that loop and make sure no one gets through if they don't have a return ticket. Anyway,
Angela, the thing that I worry about right now, that I'm very, very worried about, is the fact that we're kind of approaching that time frame where they're going to look at. Oh, wait.
I, 1 second. Sorry. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Riff, 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 riff.
oh, wow! I thought that was her, Charlie. I thought that was her working. It's like, oh my God, she actually speaks to her dog.
Man, this little guy right here, he's barking at me. Okay, what were you saying, Charlie? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think what I'm worried about, and for this entire state, that we're going to be approaching a date pretty soon
Yep.
with really no plans in place. Maybe there is. They're just going to spring it on us. I mean, just going by the evidence that we've already seen over the past 5.5, 6 months, things just going to be sprung on us, and we're going to be stuck with this this whole thing where we don't have to worry about quarantine anymore. So the question is this: if we're not going to worry about quarantine, or they tell us that you don't worry about quarantine because it's not going to be required, then who's going to be applying the tests? Who's going to be doing the test? Who's going to be testing everybody that comes in? Okay, because what happens is that's only one facet of the spread, is the test that from people coming in from the outside. We still got to deal with those active cases that we got on the ground that contact tracing is supposed to be following up on. But we know it hasn't, because when we talked to Josh, we said when we had several thousands, the time frame already ran out. So we just got to assume they got better, and you just can't follow that. But I would like to know, and I'm pretty sure you would, is that when the spread started, wouldn't you like to know where it's going and if it's circling back?
Yes, that's really
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
So the thing is, yeah. So we don't know that. We don't know that right now, and that's gonna be, to me, that's gonna be like a nail in a coffin when this whole thing starts opening up. And I hope we're supposed to have a proactive plan, which I didn't see yet. But whatever reactionary plan that we have, I hope that they can jump on it really, really quick, because we're not going to have the ability to have the Surgeon General come over again and do another another 70,000 tests. It just ain't going to happen, And I think that's what I worry. And then for you, maybe your group from Kapu Breakers is going to have to shift into another mode and just see, hey, who's actually getting tested or not, because that's going to be a big problem. I see that as a real big problem.
This is going to go in a cycle for a long time. And usually with Hawaii, with influenza, when I was a health reporter, we always looked at the trends on the mainland, and Hawaii's always behind. So first it's usually Australia and Europe and those countries, and then you've got the mainland, and then you've got Hawaii, who's always last. But the good thing about it is that we can follow that trend, right? We can watch that trend. And so we know from watching what's happened on the mainland and watching what's happened in Europe, they're now seeing this cycle of it returning again because people get complacent. Mm-hmm. You've got new people coming and going, and you've got a resurgence. There's places in Europe that are closing already now again. Germany is looking at it, Spain, Italy, all those places. So we will have a second wave. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can only hope that. I mean, the vaccine is the long range goal, and even once that becomes available, it's going to still be a while before herd immunity gets in. Um, the treatment, I'm more excited about the potential treatment that can treat people and kill this virus early onset to prevent any kind of major lung damage and all of that. But that's a ways out as well. So we got to be very careful.
And there could be a whole another disease pop up, which I think is the more high tech we get and the more complicated life gets and the more technology and all these things, the more complicated the diseases get, if that makes sense. The things that we see now, we would have never seen in the old days with the old pandemics and things like that. The good thing is we have the technology to fight it, but this is something I think the world has never experienced in these kinds of times.
Well, I do want to respond to someone, and again, I'm just being real careful about what I say. This person is saying that not a high percentage of people die from this. I guess what they're responding, that not a high percentage of people die from COVID. I don't know what to say. If you know someone who died, I would think you put them on a high priority. That's a high enough percentage for you. So this person, I'm seeing it going on in this dialogue here. Again, we've had the experts on. They say COVID as a standalone. When you're talking about the flu, you got everything that's bunched into that category, from SARS, MERS, everything under the sun, that brings up those numbers. So, if you have COVID as a standalone, it's pretty darn high, reaching about 190,000 nationwide. I think it's a pretty high number to look at right now.
Well, and I think we can't look at those kinds of numbers until next year. Then we can do year-to-year comparisons. You can't. I had somebody say, "Oh, look at the deaths on Oahu up until June." Hey, we're not going to know until way far into next year what this last year was like as far as that. And there's so many different variables. But with your brother, I know with me, I didn't think I was going to live. We do now have better treatments. Something as simple as placing a patient on their tummy is something we know now that we didn't know 3 or 4 months ago, and that can save life because it has to do with the breathing and the compression and everything else. Something that simple can save a life, and the different kinds of medications. It's just, if you want to argue, I always tell people, if you want to argue, this isn't the place to argue because we're all on the same team, so they better go with their own kind then.
Yeah.
Arguing just doesn't work.
Oh, I just found I had not seen that post, but again, Charlie, we've had the luxury or the benefit, I should say, of having a lot of experts on our show, and we've heard a lot from a lot of people, and it baffles me when people still think this is fear mongering. It baffles me when people still think that the mortality rate is low. When we had the director general from the International Vaccine Institute tell us this is way more dangerous than the flu. We've had doctors from Utah. We've had doctors from all over the country tell us the same thing. And I'll just be real frank. If you believe this is fear mongering, then don't come listen.
Yeah.
Go watch somebody else's show.
Yep.
Seriously. If we create this anxiety in your body that we're fear mongering, then go watch Checkers and Pogo or go watch something else, because we're not going to stop what we're doing. This ain't fear mongering. I don't know if you watched the other night when we had Russell on the show or when we had Sarah on the show. So, listen, I welcome the debate, but again, when you're calling us out as being fear mongers, then it's personal, and that we don't appreciate. Sorry, Charlie, that pissed me off because we always have one. And I don't block people until it gets nasty. Once it gets nasty, bloop, gone. I only did that twice so far.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, you feel free to state your opinion. You don't have to be personal. Feel like fear mongering, really? We're fact mongering. Yeah, we're fact mongering, not fear mongering. It's
Yeah.
unfortunately you just disagree with
Hawaii is a different,
well, he
Hawaii,
just he or she said bye bye, so they're gone.
yeah,
Thank you.
Hawaii is a different place, and people have to understand we're surrounded by water. We're the most isolated landmass in the world. Our culture is different. The way we think is different. Everything we do is different. And we had an opportunity to get a handle on this by locking that water around us and not letting anybody in. But unfortunately, things were kicked off very disorganized.
Yes.
And the disorganization just continues to tumble down the hill. And it's people like you guys and Kapu Breakers that continue to push that boulder back up to keep the safety there for our kupuna and our cousins and everybody. I mean, if they don't like it, get out. Bye. See you.
Hey, before I miss this opportunity to ask you, given all the changes made in the DOH and the DPS, you have any comments or opinions on that?
It's tough because I know these people as a health news reporter. You know, I interviewed Bruce a lot. I interviewed Dr. Park a lot. I saw Dr. Park when she first got her job and she was working for the CDC. And one point of my life, I recruited physicians. So I know how physicians think. I speak physician. Physicians don't always make the best managers, especially when it's a lot of people and it has to do with systematic things. They do better with research, they do better with statistics, and they do better with patients. And that just may not be her kuleana.
Right.
I think that it wasn't rolled out properly, but that also starts from the top down. The very lead person leading this state has to be the boss over the Department of Health and the director and all those different people. And if you don't put your foot down and you get walked all over, then I think the most common term that I always use is willy-nilly. Everything is just always willy-nilly and kapakahi. It's just all mixed up. The public shouldn't be helping. It shouldn't have to scramble to help make things right. It should stop. It should start from the top down. I'm glad that they're making changes. I'm grateful for Dr. Green for taking the charge and being allowed to have some say. He's a very smart man. He's very supportive. He knows what he's doing. I mean, this is his kuleana, and he should be leading the charge in a situation like this because of his expertise and his knowledge. So.
Okay. Well, good.
That's the simplest solution right there. Just put the doctor in charge and stay out of the way, and let your decisions be made by medical doctors, not PhDs. And
Yeah.
you're right. I mean, it's a failure all the way around, and it's comes from the top. It's unfortunate, but anyway, we went way beyond our time. Angela, appreciate you again and your puppy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Scooter.
Scooter. Awesome. Tomorrow's back to work. Nice holiday weekend, but everybody's get back to work. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock
Yes.
with our mystery guest tomorrow.
You know, if I told Mel that I sent an email over to Dr. Emily Roberson, and I really didn't want to speak about politics with the department. I just really wanted to find out her impression of the contact tracing, because I was telling Mel before you came on that as investigators ourselves, we would think it kind of aligns, but it doesn't. It sounds something totally different. And I kind of would like the people to hear what it entails. Because right now, we're giving our side as investigators how we go and track somebody down, how we look for the leads and all that. Well, it's sort of like that, but there's some other nuances with what they do on the medical side that I think the people should know. And so to get an idea. So if you know of a special way of getting a hold of her, that maybe
Sure.
you can tell her that, hey, don't be afraid. I've been on several times and nothing's happened. I'm still alive.
Oh, but you know who would be great is Dr. Char. So I know Dr. Libby Char, and I have by the way, I have full confidence in her. I worked with her when she was at EMS, and also did some emergency work at Straub and Queens and that sort of thing. So maybe I can try to get through her to get to Emily. So we'll see.
Well, when Dr. Char was mentioned, I endorsed her right from the start, because when I was at the ME's office, and during those times when we were acquiring equipment, when we had funding from Homeland Security and all that stuff, she was right there supporting us, and she's really, really good. I really like her. So I think we're in good hands with her.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
And I don't know how well you know the governor. We're trying to get him on as well. So if you want to go call him tomorrow and ask if he wants to come on. We've asked Dr. Anderson, he declined. But the governor's up. We got open invitation to the governor. He wants to come on.
I don't think he knows me. So.
Oh, he knows you. He knows you.
He knows me now.
After tonight, yeah, he ain't gonna like you. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. Enjoy the rest of you guys' long weekend. Go back to work tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are great. Thanks for the team effort on Kawaii with the cult. You guys are amazing.
Well, I wanted to send a shout out to a good friend. She was a former detective on Maui, Hervina Santos, and we've been in we've been in contact with each other. She played a big part because she knows all the guys that worked down at the airport, the security detail. So they were all notified way ahead of time. So I'm so grateful.
That's awesome. That is great. Yeah. Fantastic.
All right. See you guys tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. You guys all stay safe.
All right.
Love you guys. God bless. Take care.
Bye.